Every startup aims to bridge a gap. This gap is sometimes pretty evident and easy to capture, but mostly the gap is hidden and very difficult to detect. Group AI has identified one such gap that can pose very severe threats to the security in many plausible ways. In this episode, we are in conversation with Dr. Jyoti Joshi, who co-founded this marvelous venture with two more partners. She has been into research for over a decade and now has entered the entrepreneurial world. So let's listen to her and learn from her strategies. Hello, Dr. Joshi. Welcome to the VC Stories. We are glad to have you on our episode. So before we start with the episode, can you give a brief introduction about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey so far?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. I am a researcher by training. I obtained my PhD from Canberra, Australia, in the field of affective computing and computer vision. And I have been working in this space for over a decade and have opportunity to work at prestigious labs around the world, likes of University of Waterloo, Queen Mary University of London. And my latest stint as a researcher was at Monash University, Australia until last year. So that's all my professional journey, how it has been until this year, the beginning of this year, when I founded Group with two other co-founders.
Okay, so your idea is based on deepfakes, but a lot of people do not know about it. It's a very innovative technology. Can you explain it in a layman's term?
So yes. So what we are working on is in deepfake detection, and what I'd explain starting with deepfakes itself. So any synthetic or manipulated audiovisual content generated by leveraging powerful techniques from artificial intelligence and machine learning, where someone has been made to say or do something that they may not have said or done in real, are called deepfakes. So deepfakes hold enormous power in spread of disinformation and can adversely affect, individuals, large organizations, and so forth. So there are several use cases. You'd see use of synthetic media. However, the same manipulation or manipulated media can be used to harm someone's image, malign someone's image. And that's where we require such a technology, that AI-enabled technology that can help people to validate the authenticity of content that they are viewing. And that's where deepfake detection comes in. So there is, thanks to popular deepfakes coming in, there is this awareness coming slowly. लोगों को पता लग रहा है कि कैसे होते हैं डीप फेक, कि अब कंप्यूटर के थ्रू जनरेशन हो सकता है. पहले सिर्फ पिक्चर्स ऑल्टर होती थी. नाउ एंटायर वीडियोस कैन बी ऑल्टर्ड, और जस्ट पार्ट ऑफ ऑडियो कैन बी इन्फ्यूज्ड. सो देयर डिफरेंट different ways in which alteration can be done, and people are slowly trying to understand. There's a bit of awareness coming because of high quality deepfakes doing rounds on social media, and then hence the people have started to realize the threat that such deepfakes can cause to.
Okay, but the use is very debatable. It's mostly used for humorous purpose, but it can get very controversial, as you said. So what exactly interested you in the topic, and how did you generate this idea?
So you're absolutely right that, as of now, you see the use of deepfakes as memes or, humorous tags. However, the same technology can be used for committing financial frauds, and, as I said, maligning someone's images and so forth. So, it's not just, it may happen, it's already happening. There are several reports coming in. There was a case where in 2019, German CEO was impersonated using audio AI, and then a huge amount of ransom was collected. Recently, Chinese government came up, they found out a fraud worth $76 million, जहाँ पे भी deepfake technology को use करके fraudsters ने fraud किया था. So there are use cases already where people actually, taking advantage of deepfake technology and doing all these frauds. So the question that you have is that how I got interested into is that I have worked in area of face analysis, over the past 10 years or so. And I realized that how the uptake of technology has increased exponentially. We have automated biometric systems and so forth. I can come up with a tool or, with my research expertise, and can create something that can have a major impact and can be actually used to solve big problems, such a, the problem that can be there because of deepfakes.
Okay, so this is a very innovative technology and there are not multiple players in the market on this. So how was it perceived by the investors and how risky was it to pursue as a venture?
I think there are different set of investors that we came across, but more or less investors were very much keen to understand the use cases where deepfakes can be used and can pose potential harm. And then there were some set of investors who really wanted to understand the business side of it, how we can actually generate revenue using such a technology. So to our surprise, this was actually very well received, and we had overwhelming response from the investors, specifically talking about the deepfake technology, deepfake detection technology.
But for entrepreneurs who have to enter into the market where they have to create a need, be it they see a gap, but people are not aware that this kind of need could exist. So how could those entrepreneurs go about it?
That's a good question. I think understanding the market a little. So what happens is that we have a product. We know this product is really good tech-wise, but then the second part that is really more important in entrepreneurship journey is understanding who are the people who would want to use this, who really need to use it. So there are two kind of, where you would see that, okay, yahan pe is vyakti ko chahiye, unko chahiye, we have to go and sell them. And then the other people may want to use or may not want to use. So figuring that particular, sector, that jahan pe iski requirement bahut zyada zaruri hai, that is what entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs should look into. That they have a great product, great tech, but who are the people they should be first focusing, or who are the people who really need to uptake such a technology?
Okay, got it. So you have been more inclined towards academic research up till now, and this is, I think, your first venture. So what exactly attracted you towards entrepreneurship altogether?
I have been contemplating moving to industry for a while, having worked in academia for over 10 years. However, I never thought that I would, go and start something of my own. So I'd say it was more like an accident for me coming into entrepreneurship. And there are several factors that led to this journey. And one of the things was actually, as I was just mentioning, identifying that I can actually make use of the experience that I've garnered over the years into creating something impactful. And I'll tell you a small story that when I started my research journey, back in 2010, I was collaborating with one of the senior grad student in the lab. And us time pe, he was working on facial expression transfer. It was very challenging problem. And it required deep expertise to actually kind of come up with that kind of solution where, facial expression transfer can happen and someone who's been, saying something, the same expression can be transferred to someone else. And how I see now, fast forward to 2021, now there are open source tools available, and you don't really need super expertise to actually generate those kind of models. And just, there are different tools where you can create such synthetic media. So that's where I saw that, the technology has moved pretty quickly, and having worked in this face analysis and having more and more use cases coming up in synthetic media as such, there would be a need coming where people would want to check what they're viewing, whether it's fake or real. And that's where we can come up with a technology, with a tool which can enable people to detect whether it's a fake or a real thing. So it's really interesting, artificial media by artificial intelligence is how the age of digital media is looking like. And it would be interesting to see how we as users consuming such synthetic media would evolve with time and would trust the information coming our way.
Okay, got it. So do you think that this idea is ahead of its time, and because there are no multiple players out there, and as per our experience and the interactions that we have gone through, people are not really receptive of the ideas which are ahead of their times or behind of their times. So do you think that this time frame is the most accurate time frame for you to enter the market?
That's a good point to actually bring in. See, what I would say that it's not that we are super early, because we already have been talking to BFSI sector, some big players in BFSI sector who really want to integrate such a technology, because they have seen that frauds are happening, like the example I was just giving you, and they require such a deepfake detection integrated before the biometric checks happen. So in that state, it's yes, there are some existing interests that we already see. However, I'd say we still have an early movers advantage. So people are getting to become more and more aware. So I would say that, in coming years, we would see an exponential rise, not only deepfakes, but deepfakes detection demand as well. Because as the more and more synthetic media will come, more and more demand or necessity would be felt by end users, people like us. हम जो देख रहे हैं ये सच भी है कि नहीं, WhatsApp पे forward आ रहे हैं कि वो legitimate है, किसी ने बना के भेजा है, किसी ने audio कुछ और डाल के भेजा है. So those kind of things would come in eventually. Then when we all would know कि the majority of content that we are viewing is actually synthetic. So it doesn't really have to be fake, doesn't have to be doctorated. It could be synthetically generated, completely generated by AI. So that is where, as I was saying, it would be interesting to see how we as consumers would evolve and would want to, trust, or would want to check, or would want to validate the authenticity of what we are seeing.
So this could be one of the cons of AI that human race might come across.
Well, so it's the same technology. I think it's a very debatable thing if it's the technology or the people, right? So the same technology is giving us really interesting use cases, in media and so forth. And same technology can be used by people with malicious intent to commit frauds.
Exactly.
Right. So it's rather than putting it on the technology itself, I think it's twofold. People who are using it with wrong intent could be the actual culprits as well, right? Than the technologies, and just blaming it on the technology.
True. That's completely true. So having an innovative technology, how difficult was it to acquire the first set of your customers, because the organizations are rounded around a SOP, so they are very reluctant to have technological changes in their business model. So how difficult was it to acquire the first set of customers, and what are the market strategies that you plan to use moving further?
Yeah, I think it was an interesting. So I'll bring up an interesting episode. So when we kind of reach out to specifically in BFSI sector, telling people that your current biometric system might be threatened if someone uses deepfake technology and try to deceive the system, and people are saying not very interested or reluctant. नहीं अभी तो जब होगा कभी देखेंगे. So why do we need to
अभी काम चल रहा है.
अभी काम चल रहा है, अभी तो कोई हमने सुना नहीं है. ठीक है, चाइना में हुआ है, but it's not affecting us. Maybe यहाँ के लोगों को पता नहीं है कैसे करना है. So which is a fair argument. It's like how things are going, it's fine, and unless you really show them that okay, this is plausible, very much plausible in current scenario, current settings, abhi ke abhi aapka system jo hai really need this essential check. Until then, people are reluctant. So in one of the such meeting, what we kind of showed one of our collaborator was that we were doing a Zoom call. So like you and I are interacting. So deepfake technology, actually, there are plugins available that would enable you to change the feed, live feed. So it could be very much someone else. I can impersonate, I can face swap me with any, say celebrity, and would be talking, and my expression would be, same on that particular, still frame. So, and we kind of use that, and that was what they were like convinced, okay, yes, this is needed. And that's how we kind of, got our first client then. So I think it's important that you yourself, to all the entrepreneurs who are kind of coming up with these ideas, they're convinced that, okay, this is something is needed. And then you have strategies to make believe, to make other people understand that, okay, this is really a problem, or this is really something that is required in current scenario.
So there are very less women in the Indian startup ecosystem. So why is that? And according to you, and what can be done to change the scenario?
Well, I think entrepreneurship is a very demanding and challenging place to be, right?
Totally agree.
So, yeah. And I think that's where one thing, it's not like, ki 9 to 5 job hai, subah aake ab khatam ho gaya hai, sham ko. So it's, and that's no, it's, and that probably is one biggest reason what kind of holds some women back. So you really need to have a very conducive and a supportive environment. So and that's I think, I mean, given that women has to fit into so many roles and having worked as well, so this becomes a big challenge. However, there are several initiatives taken by government as such. There are several schemes. There is the Startup India came up with this women entrepreneurship platform specifically to strengthen up this ecosystem for female entrepreneurs, and giving them a platform where they can actually find mentors and collaborate. And so sometimes what you really need is that someone who has walked into this journey before can actually tell you, आपको guide कर सके, आपको similar problems हैं, but आपको उन perspectives के बारे में नहीं पता होता है, जिस तरह से आपको solve करनी चाहिए problems. So I think those are the different initiatives that are really helpful for female entrepreneurs and encouraging them to venture into this.
You just mentioned that mentorship can take people a long way. So there are a lot of mentors for young entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who want to get into the system, but they are mostly wannabe mentors, eyeing the equity and having to have a part of the revenue or seed money. So how can one entrepreneur be aware of such mentors and choose the mentor wisely who actually adds a value to the startup?
This is very tricky, and specifically for young entrepreneurs, males versus females, all of them, because जितना अभी हमारे इंडिया में स्पेसिफिकली स्टार्टअप सिस्टम कल्चर बढ़ रहा है, उतना ही you'd see more and more people who would, I think intentions are probably always nice, but then it is entrepreneur's job to evaluate the right fit. Specifically sometimes big ideas are always हाई लेवल पे सब अच्छा लगता है कि आप पैसे कर लीजिए, प्रोडक्ट के लिए ऐसा होना चाहिए, मुझे बहुत एक्सपीरियंस है. यू विल सी डिफरेंट मेंटर्स एंड प्रोबब्ली दे कम इन फ्रॉम अ वेरी एक्सपीरियंस पोजीशन एंड दे वांट टू एक्चुअली हेल्प all these entrepreneurs. However, one should really collaborate with someone जो सब कुछ एक्सपीरियंस रखता है जिस फील्ड में आप प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन कर रहे हैं या कुछ भी सर्विसेज दे रहे हैं. बिकॉज इफ दैट्स नॉट देयर, यू काइंड ऑफ वांट, बिकॉज यू आर जस्ट इन्फैचुएटेड और यू आर रियली इम्प्रेस्ड, और ये तो बहुत बड़े मेंटर हैं या हैव इनका इतना एक्सपीरियंस है, सो आई शुड हैव him or her on board irrespective of he or she understands my tech or my product. That is where I think a bit of misfit might happen. So if they don't understand the kind of product or service you're building, then they probably would not be able to give you right mentorship, right guidance that you might need. So it becomes really important for you to understand that just a big name is not what you need. But
Good
if you can
enough to have
actually,
a mentor.
yes. So you should really find that. I think आप कभी भी mentorship करने के लिए आप एक दो बार बात करेंगे तो आपको as such, because I think mentorship can be on different levels. But specifically when it comes to startup journey, you should be wary about that. आपको एक ऐसा mentor चाहिए जो आपके particular product, आपके particular solution की तरफ से आपको आगे लेके जाए, not just as as a person. So that becomes very important.
Okay, got it. Have your co-founders living in India and you're based in Australia. So how do you manage to work with different time zones and different geographical boundaries altogether?
Yeah, it was quite a challenging thing to start with, and I think I've kind of shifted towards Indian time zone now. So मेरा दिन अब यहाँ पे 1:30 बजे के आसपास होता है शुरू. And at times there are many nights I'm working late night because there are investor meetings, there are potential client meetings, then sometimes founder meetings. So this is and I'm really hoping to be back in India soon. This COVID wave settles, because it's very difficult. Having to look after home, my kids, and then also focusing on work, it becomes really challenging. But I think there is still a good understanding that I've seen from people who are aware that I'm working in a different time zone, specifically coming from the investor side. So if I have to reschedule things accordingly, fitting my family and personal needs, that has been very much well received. So that's something I'm grateful for. People started to have this understanding, and now it's not just me. I think lately India में बहुत culture है कि लोग across the time zones काम करते हैं. So there's this understanding that people have that okay, if someone is not able to do this at later or early, or someone has something else during the day, because at times I have to do the school pickups and drop-offs, so I have to maneuver things accordingly.
Okay, having co-founders in India and you're there in Australia, how did you meet those co-founders? And how did you build a rapport being in different geographical areas? Because it gets very difficult if you're not face to face with them, or you're not able to communicate with them on a regular basis. Being a mother and having a family also, you might have certain other priorities as well.
Yeah, I think my initial conversation, so we have a common connection between us, who introduced me with Sarthik and Milan, co-founders of Group AI. And so Abhinav, who's the connection in between, has worked with all of us at different times. So I think it's just having faith and trust in him kind of led this first few meetings with Sarthik and Milan. And it really take me long, and in fact into them as well, to sometimes you just click. And that's exactly what happened with Sarthik, Milan, and myself. And so we were discussing upon very initially until I think it was last year, December last year, when we were talking about potential problems that deepfakes can cause, and how can we come up with a deepfake detection technology. And what we realized that all of us were equally inclined and interested towards a specific problem and wanted to come up with a solution. And then I, having worked in the space analysis for a while, and we also had interesting experience in deep learning and having several projects done in this area, we kind of have very unique set of expertise that we bring in and that blend in. So it was never a big difficulty for me to make them understand or having any communication issues with them. However, the only problem that I was ever there was the time zone difference. So in अभी क्या है कि इंडिया में सब वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं. So not everyone is morning person. तो उनका morning और late होता है. यहाँ so Australia is like 4.5 hours in current time period, 4.5 hours ahead. So I kind of expect them कि अभी उठेंगे तो हमारी morning meeting होगी. So sometimes that kind of shifts towards the evening, my evening, and अभी उनका दिन नहीं होता. So I think those are the things. So one of the co-founders is really kind of saying कि आप जल्दी उठे थोड़ा सा, and he works till really late in the night. तो ऐसा होता है कि मेरा दिन शुरू हो जाता है next early morning and he's still up. तो मेरे सुबह 6 बज रहे होते हैं if I get up and he's still on the India time के हिसाब से जाग रहे. So that was one thing that we kind of had to balance between us to figure out कौन से किसके working hours हैं, कब the other person is more reachable. So but that was it. That was the major thing that we had to work around. But otherwise, I think we all kind of blend in pretty nicely and bring in this interesting expertise on different areas, not just technically but otherwise as well. So someone has a stronghold in reaching out to people, and someone is better with business math and so on. So that kind of has really helped us to coming up as a really nice team.
So what exactly are the elements that you look for in a co-founder, and what did you just said that you just clicked with them? So how does that happen?
I think so एक चीज है कि अगर if you find some complementary skills in the other person, that would something be very beneficial, specifically in startup journey, to have a co-founder on, because आप खुद तो हैं, आपको आपके जैसे और नहीं चाहिए, आपको you need people with different kind of perspectives, and that's where I think so सार्थक एंड मिलन जो है वो आपस में भी काफी डिफरेंट पर्सनालिटीज हैं. तो so सार्थक इज मोर वेरी जल्दी से काम करने वाला. मिलन इज समवन who would who really is very thorough. So if I have to really, if it's a very critical thing, I'd have Sarthak's opinion. He would have a very sharp idea on it, and then Milan would have a very thoughtful approach on it. So that is something I really appreciate in both of them, and I think I'm in somewhere in between in dono ke. So that probably is something that they appreciate as well, and yeah, that's how I would say. The first few meetings where I could see that this is something, these are the people I can work with. You kind of make a rapport, and there's a comfort factor you find, and that's what happened between in first few meetings with them.
Okay. COVID is around the corner. We just ended with the second wave. So has COVID impacted your startup? And India में अभी तो work from home ही चल रहा है सबका. तो work from home budding entrepreneurs के लिए, is it feasible to have this kind of working culture?
Well, so firstly, if COVID wave affected our startup, so yes and no. Yes, because had there not been this wave, I might have actually relocated. All of us would have been in one place, largely. So that was the plan, that by June we'd be at one particular place, and we'll be running business from this location. So things would have been streamlined. There are different challenges when it comes to the first hires, the new hires. So specifically when you don't know someone, and you don't even have them around you, so you just are unsure how that person, because there are different kind of people. Some people require a little bit of nudge and push, हाँ सुबह बताओ कैसा चल रहा है, कैसा नहीं चल रहा है. And some people are like हाँ, they can do it on their own, and they would come back to you. But when it comes to work from home with new hires, people you don't really know with, then it becomes a bit challenging, that how would you manage them, because at one point you do have to manage, you need to get some work done. Then that becomes a challenge of work from home for startups specifically, because large organizations is different. You have larger teams, but because iska startups ka environment bahut cohesive hai, aap sare bahut you're working very closely with each other. It's a very close knit environment, and that's if a new hire is a wrong hire, then that becomes a very big problem for you. And that new hire working remotely, and you have no idea how to manage, how to actually communicate, that becomes an even bigger challenge. So although work from home has its own benefits. However, for startups, not having known people and then hiring them, specifically in small teams, has a bit of, downside to it.
Okay. So you would prefer having a on the ground work culture than work from home for budding
I
startups?
think probably it would be the best of both the world, like mix of both. So I have enjoyed a lot of flexibility in my professional life, working from home whenever was needed. But again, I think it very much depends on the person, because I have had many colleagues who really wanted, when this COVID first lockdown happened here in Australia, that they really wanted to be back at office workplaces, and then some were actually okay with working from home. So I think it बहुत specific है. Some people prefer it one way, some people do it the other way. So at the end, the organization need to understand the requirement of the employee, that how they would actually be performing the best. If they think कि नहीं यार मुझे आने में 2 घंटे लग रहे हैं आने जाने में, so I don't want to waste that time. I'd rather do something. And if that works, if they're actually working on their jobs and tasks, then that is good enough. So I think it has to be very much balanced between the requirement of the employee and requirement of the company as well. So both. It's not कि अगर मेरा rule है कि सबको आना है. So that is kind of putting, given that work from home culture is actually becoming a norm, and people are accepting it. People are okay with it. Both companies and employees, both.
You just got selected for class 4 of 100x VC. Congratulations on that. How is your experience pitching to them, and you being in Australia and having that kind of educational background, did it have any impact on your startup?
Well, first of all, the experience was amazing. I think having onboarded with 100x was really great for Group AI. Kind of, my journey जो है काफी, I kind of wrote in a post as well that 100x faster हो गई थी, because we had just incorporated in February, and then we happened to meet the 100x team, and they were very excited about the idea. So how you asked me earlier that how investors took this. So one of the investors that were really keen was 100x, like how they really understood the idea. So even if it's people or other investors or others might not see this as a problem now, maybe ठीक है आप 2 साल बाद आना या साल बाद आना, but that wasn't the case here. I think they really see the need. They really felt this is something that would be needed, and it is currently can be currently deployed as well, and the uptake was felt. So that was really interesting, and they really helped us throughout the journey before the pitching happened with 100x people. And even after the pitching, the whole experience was very, very exciting. The kind of response that we got, the investor response that we had was very overwhelming. So it was really, I'm really grateful to actually have been onboarded there and having formed connections with 100x and their network.
Okay, that's really great.
Part 2 of question. The having impact from being in Australia. I don't think it really had any negative impact as such per se. It might have added to it, given people saw that someone who has worked in across other nation as well in different labs, and now is bringing that expertise or even connections. So I think it was very well reciprocated and acknowledged.
Okay, so it had an edge for you.
Well, that's hard to say if it was an edge added to it. So maybe I would say yes, because how they would see this team, an international person, because I was, until this group happened, I was working with a top research group in Monash. So certainly that kind of influences, when some investors going through the team and how the team is formulated, who is on the board. So certainly that helps. But I just don't want to say that someone really has to be out of India to make that kind of impact or that influence. That's what I want to say, basically. So everyone in
Right.
India is equally good.
Equally good.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
true. That's true. We are actually running short of time. So, any parting advices for young entrepreneurs, specifically female entrepreneurs?
Sure. I actually have been involved in a lot of STEM activities and progressing, encouraging female young girls into taking science and technology. So, and I would really encourage all the budding entrepreneurs, specifically females, that it's more about it's challenging, but then everything else is also a challenge. Unless you don't come out of your comfort zone, you would never realize what you are or what is there to discover. So, and it's not that every discovery would yield a success. There would be failures, but then there always is a good learning, and then you kind of grow and evolve as you go along this path. So if you have an idea, if you really think you want to do it, then don't hold back because you think it's not the right time, or you're not the right gender, or it's just that you have to wait pehle 5-6 साल job karte hain. If you have the right idea, don't hold back, just go for it, try it, and you never know what becomes a really huge thing.
That is very insightful. So it was really nice talking to you, and we are definitely going to follow up your journey, and we'll have a follow-up session a few months from now. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. Pleasure speaking with you too, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.